Alrighty then, good afternoon. Welcome back to XG Files. Stephen Howson.
Ronaldo Brown. Is this the debut of these?
He's on our channel, yeah. I think they had him on the watch along last night.
Fancy. Cushiony.
Is it like we're making love to your ears?
Definitely not.
Yeah, probably not.
Definitely not.
So yeah. Alright.
I'm alright, how are you?
You enjoy that last night?
Do you know what? Last night, this is why... Can I even say this on camera?
No. If I don't know what you're going to say, but if you have to ask me, no.
It's about it's about watch-alongs. I don't think I could have been on a watch-along last night, basically, is what I'm saying. That game. Because I was all over the place, butt clenched. Because I went into that game... Now, I went into the game like a majority of United fans with my expectations pretty low. Obviously, new Barcelona were flying high. Basically been dominating La Liga. They've been the best defensive team in Europe. I wasn't expecting much because I knew what we were missing as well. I thought if we could grab a draw, that would be perfect. I didn't ever think we could win. But I thought if we had a 2-1 loss, we'd still be in the tie. And we maybe had a shout.
I got no qualms in saying I thought we'd lose.
I know you did, but I don't know whether sometimes United, and especially Ten Hag's United, seems to thrive when we are the underdog.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when United seem to do best, and I think that's been the case for a couple of years. Where
it has, but we've been a successful, like we was a successful underdog by and large under Ollie. We would go to the Etihad, and we would play lockdown, park the tank football and try and score on a breakaway. We didn't do that last night. We took it to them. We went, oh, you want to go toe to toe at Nou Camp? Go fuckers. Like, but did we not? We did. We did.
We actually went, and we've got a dreadful record there as well. And honest to God, I left the game thinking we could have quite easily won that. Do you know what I mean? If we're a little bit more clinical at times, because that's one thing that we did say.
Marcus
when we were
said
talking.
it. Ten Hag said it. I've only seen 2 interviews.
We were saying it before the game. We said Barcelona's that good defensively that when we do get chances, because we might not get many, we need to take them. And I know that Barcelona fans are giving all excuse about they didn't start their regular back four, which is fair enough.
But that wasn't injuries, that was tactical reasons.
It was tactical. It was slack. Do you know what I mean? And saying that they're going to be better in the second leg, but Old Trafford's become a little bit of a fortress, so I actually back ourselves to get something out of it. But I actually looked at the game and thought, a team like Barcelona, is that the perfect profile of team for us to play? Are we better playing against teams where we can attack and transition and kind of sprint out? And I think that's what the aim was anyway, which is why Rashford started up top, which kind of worked against them because they deliberately put Araujo? They put him right back to deal with, because he's their most athletic defender, to deal with Rashford, and then Rashford played for the middle.
And they had Sancho in front of him, he was never going past him.
So it kind of backfired, but I think we're well suited to give Barcelona problems, because I don't think Barcelona in the Liga face teams that are as good as United transitionally.
Not only that, the team sheet comes out, I got 11 out of 11, right? Javi probably got 11 out of 11, because it was a very easy team to pick.
I got 10 out of 11, I thought Delo would start.
Did you?
Yeah.
It was a very easy team to pick. Yeah. So he's gone in his final team talk, just as we're all getting changed. Right, the team sheet's in. It's everything we thought it would be all week. It's going to be Marcus on the left, Sancho on the right, that big freak up front, and then Bruno in the middle. You're going to do this with Bruno. You're going to do that. You're watching Rashford, and then we'll limit the crosses going in for this big freak up front. And then they line up, and it ain't like that in the slightest. And he's like, "Why is he over there? Why is that big fucker playing in the 10?" Like, that takes you 20 minutes to deal with.
I think he struggled with that. I think last night Ten Hag did a number on Xavi tactically.
Yep,
100%. And the thing with Weghorst playing number 10, Weghorst surprised me as a player in a sense where he's 6'7", and he's come in and he's actually a much better ball playing footballer than he is as a target man.
Than I thought he was.
He's 6'7". He's 6'7", but he plays like he's 5'10". Do you know what I mean? He doesn't win headers. He can't jump off the ground. He doesn't use his size well, but on the ball he has a couple of good touches, and he's decent technically, which is crazy. He almost looks like he's more suited to playing that 10 role.
Do you know how good it would have been for him to put that chance he had away, though?
Yeah, I know.
For every extrapolation on that, it would have been so good for him to have put that away, which was unfortunate that he didn't manage to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we take him back to Old Trafford. Martinez is an upgrade. I think Luke Shaw did really well at centre half, but Martinez is the best centre half in the league.
I think Martinez centre half and Luke Shaw to left back stronger. Malacia tries. He's tenacious. He works hard. But personally, from what I've seen from Malacia, I don't think he's at most a backup fullback. I think he's very, very limited on the ball. He makes me nervous on the ball, and I think defensively he can be got at as well. He can be sometimes 1v1. He can be a little bit rash. I think in terms of like a technical team, he's not polished. I don't know whether he actually. I think he has the ability, but I think he's just got that thing of always a little bit nervous about giving the ball away and stuff like that. He looks a bit tentative sometimes. So I think Luke Shaw left back, and then Martinez, and I think we're looking good. I think Sabitzer comes in. I don't know if Sabitzer I don't think Sabitzer will start though against Barcelona. I think after what Fred did yesterday, I think they'll start Fred again, because I think Fred was vital in terms of his leg work.
What I'm going to say, I think he does.
Why?
Sabitzer and Fred. Bruno on the right, Rashford and Weghorst. Back to their usual, because...
Okay, so you think it's going to be Casemiro, Sabitzer and Fred? Maybe. Casemiro, Sabitzer and Fred. The only issue is that that means you've only got one transitional player though, if you're countering, and that's Rashford. I think Bruno worked well because Bruno
could do it. Bruno could do it off the right.
Yeah, but he's not quick enough. The thing is with Bruno is, other than Eriksen, because Eriksen's not gone, he's become even more vital in terms of he's the most creative player that we have in terms of being able to find that pass or that early ball. Like Eriksen yesterday could have been...
But then you also have Sabitzer on the pitch and Casemiro on the pitch. So you have got... Yeah, you might only be looking for one major outlet in that, which is Marcus. But you've got 3 people who can potentially find Marcus.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to hold a little bit more of the ball than you would have done away from home.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to put it in different areas. And the good thing is Sabitzer gives you so much flexibility as well. We know he can play in like all forward 6 positions.
Yeah.
So like he can occupy a bit of space on the left. And he ain't the slowest.
Yeah.
He ain't Rashford levels, but he ain't the slowest. And Fred can get in there. Now Fred's not going to do anything when he does get in there, but he can get in there and he can take runners away.
Yeah, he can. He can, but I don't know. I think he keeps it relatively the same. I think if Anthony's fit, he'll just start him because he loves Anthony. I think Anthony would have been perfect against Barcelona as well.
Anthony would have been a threat, and maybe that's the move. He just brings Anthony,
especially with Barcelona. What the Barcelona were good at sometimes was their counter press. Their counter press was really good sometimes, and I think in terms of in possession, Anthony's probably he's up there probably as our most secure player, like on the ball.
What I love about what Barcelona do, and I watch it and I go, how do I teach our lot to do that? And it's when they win possession and it's 3 one-touch passes away from danger. So I tackle you, and I've not even looked because I noticed someone there, and I send it to him, and he sends it to him, and he sends it to him, and it's just cleared that sort of danger area.
It's like what you're watching. That's the pinnacle of world football you're watching.
But so what?
That's Barcelona and
that's
Manchester
why it's inspirational and where you want to get to. You can still emulate that on a slower scale, but I just find that one aspect of their game that they do when they win possession, it goes boom, 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 away out of the danger area. Because obviously, if you're going to counter press someone, it's when you've just immediately lost the ball. So if you clear the danger zone, and I think they do that little triangle of passes so much. And I say this to our boys all the time, innit? Like if you just pop it around a lot, opposition stands still, and that little triangle pass that they do, when they just circle you with a pass, the guy in the middle just ends up standing there. He doesn't keep running. He just stands there and he's like, yeah, they've done me.
Nah, do you know what?
Talk to us in the comments. I'm going to start reading some of these.
Yeah, Daniel Barry says Anthony isn't secure on the ball. He's not good 1v1 and he's not exactly quick and that. But one thing he is good, he's technically good. And he is very, very, very reliable and trustworthy. Like when you pass the ball into him. That's what
Who's this, Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony. I think if you're trying to do 1-2s, you're trying to get out of little like dense areas, I think Anthony's probably up there as one of our better players in that aspect. So I definitely disagree with you. What I was going to ask you though, Steve, is what did you think of De Jong yesterday? What did everyone think of De Jong yesterday?
Honestly, wasn't watching him. I was focusing on us.
Do you know what's interesting? Apparently the Barca fans were saying that was probably up there, probably his second worst performance of the season.
Really?
They say he's normally that good. I don't know whether it was because of the Ten Hag and the United. Do you know, he might have been in his own head a little bit, but I think he was quite MIA yesterday.
We did a video on it the day before, didn't we? And a lot of the comments in that video was like, why are we still going on about this guy? He doesn't want to come to us. I said this at the time, and I still believe one of the reasons he didn't go in the summer was because he's owed an absolute fortune from Barcelona. And he ain't just going to give that cash up. And Barcelona are bent enough to not pay him. They are. Yeah. They are. They'll just be like, good luck getting that. You'll have to sue us, right? I genuinely they're so much in debt that I just think they'd be like, whatever. You just add him to the list of creditors.
They're just going to ride it out.
Yeah. So I think that unless he wanted to give up, was it 10, 12 million or something like that he was owed? My God. Like, I think he wanted to come. And I think the rumours of him still wanting to come, United still being in for him, is only because he's telling Ten Hag, you will, just let me box this off. Like,
do you know what the major deterrent apparently was, though? Apparently the major deterrent for him coming was his missus. Apparently, do you know that footballers' wives and they're saying, I don't want to move there, I want to be in Barcelona or Milan. You know, like when they're in...
Mate, think about it.
Do you know what I mean?
Think about it.
So, yeah, apparently his girlfriend was like...
Trafford Centre's a hard sell versus the Mediterranean.
Yeah, says, I love Barcelona, and I think it's the weather aspect as well. So I think his wife wasn't really buying into the move. But I feel like the way to kind of blend that is, I think wages-wise, he's probably thinking... I'll cash out a little bit, but he was on heavy wages at Barcelona, so I don't think there was much of an incentive actually for him to leave, especially the fact that they had Champions League football and we didn't.
Yeah. Right, just on me, please, Josh. There we go. All right, are you looking for a thrilling way to spice up your weekend football game? And if you are, you need to look no further than Circle. Pow and pow. Right, this is Circle. It is a new, exciting sweepstakes games that I need you to click on the thing, Josh, so I can actually read it. Thank you. Trust us, don't miss out on any of the action. Before I get in, this is a read, right? So I'll allow it. Before I get into the proper stuff with this, here's what I need you to know on a very, very soon. I'm on that camera. That couldn't have been a worse place to put the thing, could it? You even put me on this one. There we go. Hey, hi. I'm going to start doing some private Circle groups. We're going to start doing some mad stuff, so I get into this because you're going to be seeing it till the end of the season. But anyway, so what is Circle exactly? Well, it's a pass-the-hat style game where the pot constantly moves, constantly shifts from player to player depending on what's happening on the field. For instance, a yellow card gets shown, and the pot moves to someone who's had a yellow card as their bet that they're going with. And it moves anti-clockwise. If there's a corner, then it moves. Like, it just constantly moves. That's why it's a circle. You see? Hey, see what we're saying? The winner's ultimately determined by who's in possession of the Circle prize pot at the end of the game. And the best part, no prediction algorithm can accurately forecast the winner, so you are in with a chance of winning big. But Circle's just not about winning, obviously about having fun with your friends. And you can create your own circle with a group, 5 or 10 people, whatever you want. You can create your own circle rules. You can even have your own custom buy-ins. And we have got an exclusive referral for you, which is Howson, Howson. That's a £5 free bet when you deposit and stake £5 on your first circle. It is a win-win. And of course, important to remember, please gamble responsibly. You must be 18 and over and reside in the UK to play. What are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description. Join Circle. Join our Circle games. Let us know. And who knows, you might be the one that's going to be taking the prize pot home this weekend. And like I said, I am going to be doing some private Circle thingies as well, so keep an eye out for those.
Do you know what? A quick question I do want to ask everyone in the comments is, obviously there's a lot of split opinions, a lot of opinions on De Jong's performance yesterday. I was surprised at the divided opinion, especially with the player is and how much he'd suit the system is. I want people to say yes or no in the comments of, would you take De Jong for 90 million in the summer? Yes or no? Because I actually thought it was heavily one-sided, but it wasn't. It's quite split. But I'm interested to see what people say about it.
Go on, let's see what it says. Yes or no, De Jong?
But I also want to know is, Fergal McClement says, mad that Weghorst is 6'6", but plays like he's 5'9", and vice versa with Martinez. Exactly, sometimes it's not about... What's the size of the dog?
It's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
I was about to say that phrase, and I knew I was about to absolutely butcher it, and I feel like that's one of those, if you butcher it, it can sound proper mess.
Looks pretty 50-50 this on De Jong in the comments, and Jesus just says Bellingham. Alex Bailey says, don't want Frankie De Jong at all. maybe leaning a bit more towards you. Oh, actually, no, it's still quite even, this.
You know, no chance was reading. I'd rather Ward-Prowse.
Come on, man.
Ward-Prowse, who apparently is now the best free kicker of all time.
All right, we're doing a poll. Yes or no, De Jong?
We need to do a poll now if they've already said it.
I know, but we can get a poll going on. But anyway, vote in a poll.
If not De Jong, though, who's the alternative? Because it is clear, we spoke about this. You've got Casemiro, who defensively is pretty much a mainstay. Everyone says if Sabitzer does well, he might be able to stay as well. But Eriksen, obviously, you don't know how long you've got him for, and some people still argue that he shouldn't be a definitive starter week in, week out, even with his quality, because of his deficiencies off the ball.
Imagine if you was able to rest Bruno a couple of weeks.
That's what I'm saying. Bruno gets a lot of slander sometimes. Sometimes it's rightful, because obviously you can have moments in games where you kind of like...
Well, I put it in the chat last night into the first team, didn't I? That little flick that he tries to do on the halfway line as we're playing out, he does it every week, right? He lost it against Leeds. That's literally the same thing he lost it, and he was losing it all the time.
He's frustratingly brilliant, Bruno, but he's so good. But at least once a game, Bruno Fernandes will do something that makes you just think, what you're doing, and then you're proper there, confused, thinking, but then what was he trying?
Then he makes like 5 chances.
Why did he do that? What was he doing? Yeah. But then it will make chances to make up for it. But it's not. Obviously, we talk about on his ball stuff, but his off the ball work rate is insane. His engine is insane. But to be fair, he's built like a marathon runner, so I feel like that has an effect on it. But it's his durability.
Yeah,
he plays 90 minutes.
He's benching 10 aside
2 times week in, week out.
He's not doing numbers.
And he don't get in. I don't want to jinx him, but he doesn't get injured. Do you know what I mean?
But it probably happened at some point in his career. So you got to think Bruno. All right, he's a fill-in auxiliary winger at times, right winger, because of his crossing ability and just a bit of a wide sort of creator to have in the pitch sometimes. But most of the time he plays in the 10. Consider Bruno a 10. And then you've got a 6 in Casemiro and an 8 in Sabitzer or in Eriksen. And obviously Eriksen can fill in as a 6, as a creator from deep, or he can probably fill in as a 10. I think if you had a real combative game and you was like, Bruno's out, would you have any qualms about throwing Eriksen in as a 10 alongside a Sabitzer or a Fred and a Casemiro?
We haven't seen that.
But would you have any qualms about it?
I wouldn't have any qualms at all. But for some reason, the whole season, has Eriksen even played 10 once? I don't believe he has. And that's probably his regular position. I know when he came back from his heart issue that he had, and obviously the cardiac arrest that he had in the Euros, when he came back... I
think we're so glossing over the fact that this guy fucking died on a pitch, came back and has just been crazy. Balling out. It's crazy. It's insane.
He went to Brentford and played deeper, and he was insane there.
He had a Jesse Lingard loan.
Yeah. So that's why I think because before that, Eriksen was mostly at least a number 10, or he played like kind of an inverted winger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he occasionally played the Pogba role of being an 8 without a lot of defensive responsibilities.
Or a 10.
Or a straight 10. But if you was building a super squad, do you think you could get away with having Casemiro, Eriksen, Sabitzer, Bruno, De Jong, Bellingham?
Okay.
There is no better midfield in the world football if you've got those 6, but can you keep those 6 happy?
I argued that if Casemiro is partnered with De Jong, that might be the best midfield pivot in the world. But I still heavily rate De Jong.
Well, on that, related to this question, from that super chat, please. So we've got another super chat here from Fergal. Thoughts on you should never start your best 11, so you guarantee upgrade with subs when needed, and if not needed, then it's resting. I'll let you answer that before I answer that.
I disagree. I think you play your best possible team as much as you can. Simple as that. Obviously, football is a game of fine margins, and players with a little bit more ability make a huge difference. I know tactically you can make changes, but I think you should focus on having a strong starting 11 that you start in, week out, get results, start games well, rather than kind of sabotaging it just because you want to make substitute differences. Do you know what I mean? I disagree with that. I don't think that makes sense at all.
No, you go with starting 11 because like you said, football's in such fine margins that you can find yourself 2-0 down because of a couple of mistakes that your second string have made early in the game, and now you've got a proper uphill battle. It's better to maybe get the game won and at 60 minutes take your best players off and save them for next week, rather than have that panic-inducing shit where you've got to try and fight back and win a game and everyone's out on their feet after the 90 because you've had to claw a win back.
But it's true, but I get apprehensive sometimes when you go into those lesser games and then you do a lot of rotation and then thinking that you need to rest players, and then before you know it, you find yourself 2-0 down, 2-1 down, and 1-0 down, and then you've got to bring all your big guns on to save the game. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather the other way around. You start them, you get ahead in the game, then you take them off.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my personal belief anyway.
I mean, we don't play midweek games at Paddock, so I roll my best available 11 every week.
Every week, you got to. And as I know, you talked about you want someone to rotate in for Bruno because him and Maguire are the same in their durability, but you can't, as much as we have done, we can't rely on Bruno being this durable for much longer. And he's gonna eventually pick up something, and I think him in the team makes a huge difference. United don't really have another number 10 to replace him. I know people say Eriksen, but he doesn't usually play there.
Now, and you might not have him for the rest of this season.
Donny van der Beek, is he a lost cause? We don't know. But who in the market can you get?
I'd say yes.
Who in the market? People in the comments probably know. Who in the market would you get as a number 10 role that's affordable because it's not a huge kind of need?
Think what we got him for.
Do you know what I mean?
Cheaper than Fred.
He's cheaper than Fred, but I think, is there someone that we can get in the market that will kind of just go, oh, is it Amad Diallo? Do you know what I mean? Who can we do? Because I think finding someone that does the job.
I think if you're Ten Hag today, you're thinking, I've probably got enough in terms of, because the thing is, you're not trying to replace him.
Yeah.
Because you think you've got him, or you would assume you've got him. So you're not trying to replace him. You're trying to say, right, I need to maybe cover him, give him some rest, play him in 10% less games than he's currently playing in, and maybe cover for him having a 4 to 6 week knock at some stage in any season. And I think you look at the squad you've got and you go, well, we know Sancho can fill in, I know Eriksen could fill in, and Sabitzer could fill in. That'd do me. I think I'm covered for that. Because that's what you want to do. You want to go through the squad and you want to go, right, okay, so who's my first choice right back? Dalot, right. Dalot gets injured. Who's my second choice right back? You go Wan-Bissaka. Is it the same? Well, he's actually got miles better than... I mean, if you just asked me that 6 months ago, I'd have been like, no, he's done. But he's not. And he's been pretty good. He was still probably one of the weaker links in the team, I thought, last night. But not catastrophically. Defensively, he's got a lot of positive attributes. Sometimes his reading and awareness just isn't anywhere. So you have to go, all right, okay, so is there a third option at right back? No. So that's a weakness area. Yeah. Because I think that even Dalot can be massively improved upon. Devo Malo Gusto went to Chelsea.
Yeah,
Selic's the other one that we might have to keep an eye on.
I'm a big fan. I think Selic was more like... Selic's now 26, 27 now, don't he?
I think he's still improved.
But he's a good player, though.
Left back, you go, right, what we got? We got Luke Shaw. Okay, we've got Malacia. Okay, we're covered there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Worst case scenario, what else are we going to have? Martinez might be able to pop in there, and I reckon you go, do you fancy fulfilling it left back for us?
Yeah,
I think he'd probably love it. I think he'd get excited for the opportunity to get into the opposition half.
Yeah, probably would.
At centre half, okay, it's a big drop off from the first choice, but Luke Shaw's now proven that he can throw in there, and he's put himself. Hey, I'm just talking facts. You can call it an agenda if you want, but he's put himself above Harry Maguire.
Nah, he has. He 100% has. And another one I want to ask you, because I'm looking at the comments now, is this has been thrown about a little bit, yeah? Would you take Mason Mount as a backup to Bruno?
I don't think he would want to come and be a backup. I think he'd rather stay at Chelsea and be a backup.
Because there's a lot of talks about Mount leaving.
Honestly, any good sporting director at the moment wants to have whoever Chelsea's is on speed dial, because they'll be throwing away some fine china this summer.
It's also because he's been terrible, and the Chelsea fans have turned on him. That's why.
He's not a terrible player, though.
But he's not a terrible player.
He's not a terrible player.
So, do you know what I mean? I'm trying to think, would you take Mason Mount? Yeah. A lot of people saying he don't rate Mount. I think there's a player in there, but...
I think there's a player in there. He doesn't start ahead of Bruno, but if he knows that, that's not...
And the issue is, I think if you're getting Mason Mount for a backup from a fellow rival, he's going to cost...
You got to think of the
50,
circumstances.
60, yeah.
You got to think of the circumstances. There are going to be bargains to be had at Chelsea because they can't afford to keep all of these players. You can play poker with these. You can go, listen, there's $5 million. We'll take him off your hands, and they'll be like, you can't pay $5 million. He's an England international. And you go, cool. Are you registering him? No. So there's $5 million. Do you want to talk?
Nah, I don't know, man. I don't think there's going to be a point where they're going to have to severely cut the wage bill.
Look at like Ross Barkley and that. Where are they going to end up?
Ross Barkley?
Where they ended up?
Fucking hell, Ross Barkley. He was a baller as well, man. What happened to
Isn't
him?
he on loan at, is it Nice?
He's completely fell off the map, but...
So he's coming back to Chelsea,
I used to see
and he's going to be like, yo, where's my locker?
To see Ross Barkley.
Well, now the reserve team dressing room is now the first team dressing room because we got that many first team players. So actually, the under 18s dressing room is now the reserve changing room. And if you go out the back of the doors of that one, you'll see that porter cabin. You're in there.
Listen, I don't.
Mate, you phone up Chelsea this summer and get Ross Barkley for a return envelope.
Someone said in the comments that his contract's been terminated. The thing is, Ross Barkley.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Ross Barkley was a bowler, but I used to see him stumbling out of Club Live all the time. He loved it.
Super chat from Tom Hutton says Kane or Osimhen. I lean towards Osimhen, I think.
Osimhen because he's more longevity, but Kane's just Kane. You know what you're getting. I feel like if you get Kane, he's guaranteed to score 25 goals for United next season. It's like a guarantee. Do you know what I mean? But his fitness issues. But in terms of the system, I think Kane's even more suited to Ten Hag's system.
I think he probably would be, but I just don't know what longevity he's got. I don't necessarily. I don't
know. I think Kane's play style. I think it's more of a fitness thing that I'm worried about in terms of his injuries. I think the way he plays, I think he's at least got about 4 or 5 years of being borderline elite. Because Lewandowski's 34, and yesterday he was handled pretty well, but he still scared me a lot. Lewandowski.
He should.
He was. Do you know what I mean?
Honestly, if anyone was like Lewandowski,
I don't get to. Obviously, I've seen Lewandowski play some like before, but he literally has no. I didn't realize until yesterday how quick he was as well.
Oh, sorry. Can I just address this real quick? Prashant there says new director of football at United. People are getting a bit excited with that one. Actually, there isn't a new director of football. There is a new director of football operations. It's a bit close in terms of the job title, but the job is totally different. And the job's actually a bit more like the player liaison officer that I've been banging on about in terms of like settling players in and that sort of stuff. He's a lot more to do with that than he is out there picking players and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is that his job at Everton very much seemed to be take the photo with the guy that's just signed a new contract, which feels a bit director of footballish, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of ambiguity in the job title, but he isn't going to be the director of football.
Yeah, he's not. I think it would.
Because I panicked because I thought someone was coming to be the director of football.
I don't think United are taking the director of football from Everton anyway. So
I know if you had to look at like the signings Everton have made, and you'd be like,
yeah, I don't think
because they've blown through some dosh.
They've blown through some dosh. I don't think he would have been first on the list. Someone says get Nonto off Leeds, can play more positions.
We told you about Nonto Notch.
Yeah, quite a while ago.
Bob Smith says, I'm a big fan of Sobozale, Leipzig, another option at number 10.
He's was meant to be like a bit of a Hungarian wonder kid. Slobozai or something like that, but I don't know how well he's actually done. But I've heard of the name, and I did watch him against England when they played at the Molineux, and he was pretty good then. But other than that, I don't know much. I think players like that are still going to cost United a premium. The issue is we can't just go into the transfer market, no matter who the owners are, and buy like 5-6 players. It's not going to work like that.
No.
And especially...
Well, imagine that deadline's supposedly today, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on how that's going to go off today? I don't expect an announcement today.
I don't expect anything to happen today. I think it's going to be long-winded and drawn out. We're talking about the sale of a multi-billion pound franchise. It's not an overnight thing. Obviously, it hasn't been anyway, but I feel like I'm not going to get giddy about anything until there's more confirmation or there's stuff a little bit more concrete. Because I think there's stuff coming out of the woodworks now about an imminent kind of sale or bid, but I'm not quite sure how legit those statements and reports are. Obviously, Prabhav says who doesn't cost us a premium. Obviously, it's true. That's what I'm saying. I think United can't go and buy like 2. We've got to be cleverer. That's why I think United need to be a little bit smarter in terms of their transfer policy. But I've always had a theory with big clubs like Manchester United is, have United been less inclined to go into South America or places that aren't well known to look for hidden gems? The same way Brighton and a Leicester
or
can,
Benfica.
or a Benfica can. Are United, because of the size of the club and the pressure for transfers to work all the time, less inclined to take those risks?
Yes.
And I think that's why, because people always go, why don't United go and do this and do that? Because United going...
There's a certain safety in paying 80 million for someone you know.
I think United would rather buy a known commodity that's expensive rather than take a gamble on a cheap one.
Do you reckon
know what I mean?
Benfica have got an office in Buenos Aires?
Probably now, because they've banged twice on it. Do you know what I mean? So...
Honey Badger's got a comment here that I absolutely disagree with, and Honey Badger, you're going to disagree with it once I tell you it. And he says, or they say, Steve, if this guy is getting hired with a sale imminent, that means Arnold and Murta are staying. Hard no on that for me. Anyone associated with the Glazers must go. Okay, so is Ten Hag going? And actually,
on all the players as well.
And actually, I think Richard Arnold's done a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I mean, he came into it, and people took the piss out of it, but I had a lot of respect for that. He came into it, a lot of fans are booting off. Didn't he come outside his house? And he goes, all right, meet you down the pub.
And then
went down the pub. I got time for that.
And it was actually all right with him. I think they probably went a bit hostile, but I think when someone responds like, oh, let's have a chat at the pub then about it, they were like, all right, that's pretty cool. They probably found a new...
All right, you tell me one other CEO of a Premier League football club that has even come close to doing anything like that. Anything like that.
How well do you reckon United were happy about him doing that, though? Probably not.
No. United don't like anything, no change, anything like... Cause the fact it was in the media and it wasn't a new noodle sponsor, I think United didn't like that. But I think from being a bloke, I like that. I like that he fronted that up and was like, I'll talk to you. Now, I wouldn't encourage people to just try and get him down to the pub all the time. He's a busy man, I hope.
Yeah.
But when you look at the other stuff, so what has he overseen? Possibly the appointment of Ten Hag.
Yeah.
Certainly the power that Ten Hag has been allowed to have. What's John Murta done? Hard to say, really. I believe a lot of the like Ronaldo, Sancho transfers were the previous lot, Woodward. But when you look at the transfers this summer, all right, we probably overpaid. No, we definitely overpaid for Anthony. The other transfers been very good.
I definitely agree. I think obviously been definitely an uptick from the previous. I don't want to say his name, but I think we are going in the right direction, and I think the owner sale could be like the booster that we need, because obviously the title of the video and the general discussion we're talking about is Ten Hag returning United to some sort of greatness again. Obviously, it's a bit hyperbolic. It's very early to say, but we have probably seen the most promising signs we've seen in a long, long time.
Well, and we're in all 4 cups. We're probably going to progress past Barcelona, which the only time I remember us doing that was 99 and 08.
Are we deep in the fact that United, even
1991,
even back to the Fergie days? I know Fergie came up against a better Barcelona, but Ten Hag's gone to the new camp with...
Hang on. Sorry, I just need to ask this. Arjun Shetty says, Steve, when are you getting sacked, mate? From what? What am I getting sacked from? Do I need to issue an apology? Fucking hell, I knew this day would come.
Yeah.
Let me know what I'm supposed to be getting sacked for.
Yeah. Basically said, Ten Hag's gone to the new camp with Vegas number 10, Bruno right wing, Luke Shaw centre half, and done a number and got a result. And it's time and time again we've seen, and it's the thing is, even in games we've lost or drawn, you can't look at United throughout the season and not see like the tactical changes. You see a philosophy, you see a style of play, you see a strategy every game. Do you know what I mean? It might not always work, but you actually see coaching.
The coaching's undeniable.
It looks like the players are bought into me. So I think United aren't as far away from the Europe's elite, and that includes the likes of obviously City, what was formerly Liverpool, and
Real Madrid,
even Arsenal, Real Madrid,
Bayern Munich.
PSG, Bayern Munich. I don't think United are that far away from that. I think there's probably one or two players, and I think we're right up there again. I think Ten Hag has huge potential, and I think the squad does. I think there's a ceiling that we're nowhere near reaching. This was meant to be a rebuilding season, and look what we're doing.
Well, if we can allow ourselves to get giddy for a minute, because it's every football fan's prerogative to get giddy. We're 5 points behind teams that are dropping points, and we've had a blip where we've dropped all of the points that we're behind them. When we drew to Palace and we lost against Arsenal, if we hadn't have done that, we'd be joint top.
I think you can go one up. I think if you didn't draw to Palace last minute and you didn't draw
and Casemiro's not sent
at
off.
home to Leeds,
You've a point off.
That's 4 points for a point off top. And
margins.
Fine margins in football, but then obviously, see what I mean? Arsenal will probably go back and said if they didn't have that VAR off that. I wish nothing more than Arsenal to lose all their games or even drop points in games where decisions have wrongfully gone against them. It makes it all the more sweeter. I love the fact that equaliser for Brentford's offside. Fucking loved it. I know karma might bite me in the arse, but I loved it.
I love it because their reaction's mental.
It's crazy because they've had a 10 times better season than they were expecting. They've massively overachieved as it is. They've had a good season for what their standards are. And after one loss to City at home, have you seen their overreaction? It's like the world's ending.
Someone's been pulling up all the Arsenal fan clips from when they were like 11, 12 points clear. They're like, bro, we're obviously going to win the league now. Look at us.
And then as soon as
I swear to God, if they finish below us, stand by. When are we getting Joe Bear on XG Files, by the way? The day we overtake him.
You couldn't get him on before that?
No, because it's better. Because I'm just going to make his life horrible that week, Monday to Friday, basically. So the weekend we overtake Arsenal, I'll be eating cake on 5, and we'll bring him in here and just bully him.
Sounds like a plan to me.
SK's got a super chat, and then we'll have a couple more questions and we'll wrap it up. Just feels great to have some respect back. ETH influence is so clear. That game we really could have got more out of. Only club in Europe in 4 comps. These are the things. These are the things.
Now, these are the things you could definitely see something happening. And I think the first perfect thing that he does was steal Martinez from Arsenal when everyone was clamouring for us to get Timber.
He might have been a problem if he'd have gone Arsenal, you know. Think how well they've played.
Yeah, I think,
Think about
listen,
if Martinez had gone
Martinez
Arsenal.
instead of Gabriel.
Wow.
Oh, listen. But
who wouldn't they have signed
come on, no. Ten Hag knew how
signed?
good he was. Do you know what I mean? That's why.
Shows the pull of Ten Hag as well, doesn't it? Because he just went, come with me then. And he went, done.
Yeah, done.
So, yeah. That is it from us. We've got a big weekend this weekend, I think. The old Paddock. We've got another one.
Can I ask you one thing? Like the video if we will finish above Arsenal by the end of the season. And if we don't get to 500 likes before this, Joel Bayer's not coming on the XG Files. How about that? Because I know he wanted one.
We got a big weekend as Paddock this weekend. We're playing at Wythenshawe if you're in the area. United don't play till Sunday, so come and get yourself over if you're in the mixer. 2 o'clock kickoff. We're playing West Didsbury and Charlton Reserves. And it's a big weekend for us because we're currently in 6th. There's 3 teams go up. 5th, we've got 3 games in hand on, and they're only a point ahead of us, and we beat them 6-1 in our last game. Which means that we're looking at the top 4, really.
Okay.
We're realistically 5th. 1st place 2nd, 3rd place 4th. They could all drop points this weekend. Now, obviously, we got to do our jobs. But this is going to get tasty because we're only just past halfway in our season. There's 13 games to go, is there? 12
something
games
like
to go, 12, 13 games to go, something like that. A lot of football to be played.
A lot of football.
And not a lot of points in between that entire top 5. So, if you fancy coming having a game, come get down in the mixer. Joe says, how do we get on against Wythenshawe Amateurs? We drew 0-0. Really good game.
Get a super chat.
Troy with a super chat angle. Let me see. We have a firm thesis that United would win the league. Tracking just City, not just Arsenal now. now validated. We have United winning the league since October on odds of 100 to 1. Wow. Yeah, we drew 0-0. It was a really good game, wasn't it?
No, it was. It was high standard. It was right to the very end. I think it's funny how 0-0s can be that good sometimes. It just means that you've got two teams going at it, competing, not wanting to give the other an inch. I enjoyed it.
I think it was the first 0-0 in our history as well. But yeah, high-level game. Obviously, I mean, I spoke to Oatsy after the game and said I was very happy with the 0-0. But if we do promote, that's just another team in our league next year, and I'm not accepting a draw next year. So we got a long way to go to be able to be a lot better than them and make sure we're picking a win up there next year, if we get it there next year.
Okay.
Work never stops.
Oh, there's two super chats above that one. No, I've read out.
Sorry, missed that. Oh, Bob Smith says, how's the youth team doing? I've not really been able to keep up with, I mean, I've been so busy, especially with going to the World Cup and everything, not really able to keep up with what's been going on with the youth team. As Notch says there, Paddock versus Withenshaw is on the Paddock FC channel. Go watch it if you want to see how we got on. And the other super chat, there's one from Christian here, says, Joel's on live support. Arsenal have gone from the greatest team in the Prem to the realest club in London. Shambolic. But that is us for today. Make sure, please, to check out Circle. Obviously, they're supporting this channel, so go and check them out. Link for that is in the description. And I'll see you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.